They told you intimacy is all about passion, about desire, about the fire you can't control. But what if everything you've been taught is a lie? What if real intimacy isn't found in surrendering to emotion, but in mastering it? Most people chase connection through feelings, attraction, or fleeting highs. But the ancient Stoics, some of the sharpest minds in history, saw through the illusion. They knew something that most of us have forgotten. Real intimacy has nothing to do with chaos or losing control. It's not about being consumed. It's about being fully present. To the Stoics, intimacy wasn't just a rush of feelings. It was a disciplined exchange of presence, power, and understanding. It wasn't about giving yourself away, it was about knowing yourself so deeply that your bond with another person became unbreakable. For centuries, people have been trapped in the belief that intimacy is either physical or emotional. The Stoics rejected that shallow view. They approached it with clarity, wisdom, and a kind of internal strength that made their connections last, because they never lost themselves in the process. They practiced not just physical positions, but mental ones. Philosophical frameworks that created real connection while protecting their core identity. And today, we're going to uncover 5 of these rare, almost forgotten Stoic positions, each one capable of reshaping your understanding of intimacy from the inside out. So if you've ever believed intimacy was just about chemistry or desire, what you're about to hear may flip that belief upside down. Let's start with the first principle. You've just seen how presence, pure, focused presence, is the foundation of deep intimacy. But what does that actually look like in practice? Let's explore the first Stoic position, the position of presence. Number 1. The position of presence, mastering the art of undistracted connection. Most people assume they're present in their relationships. They think, I'm here, I'm listening, that's enough. But physical proximity isn't presence. In truth, they're mentally elsewhere, buried in worries, scattered across a dozen open tabs in their mind, caught in the background noise of a hyper-stimulated world. True presence is rare, and true presence is powerful. The Stoics understood this like few ever have. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, once wrote in Meditations, "Concentrate every minute, like a Roman on doing what's in front of you with genuine seriousness." He wasn't just giving advice for productivity. He was urging us to show up for life completely. And nowhere is that more critical than in our closest connections. In our modern world where attention is currency, the ability to give someone your full, undivided presence is one of the rarest gifts you can offer. Think about it. How often do you sit across from someone you love, but your mind starts wandering? You think about deadlines, your phone buzzes, or worries pull your attention away. They speak, and you hear, but you don't really listen. That isn't connection. That's a performance of presence, a pale shadow of what it could be. The Stoics approached presence as a discipline. It wasn't accidental. It was trained, built, and guarded like a sacred ritual. Seneca once said, "Nothing is ours except time." Yet how recklessly we waste it, especially in the moments that matter most. Real presence isn't just hearing someone. It's clearing the internal clutter, shutting out the external noise, and giving them the most valuable thing in existence, your complete attention. Modern psychologists now validate what the Stoics intuited centuries ago: deep, intentional presence fosters emotional safety, trust, and meaningful intimacy. When someone feels truly seen and heard, they light up. They feel significant. And that's when real connection begins. But presence isn't passive. It's an active, deliberate skill, a muscle you must train. So how do you build it? Step 1. Awareness. Notice when your mind drifts. Catch it in the act. Gently bring yourself back to the moment, again and again. Step 2. Silence. Not just the absence of words, but the space to listen. To hear not just the words spoken, but the emotion behind them. Step 3. Control. Remove distractions. Put the phone away. Turn off the TV. Respect the moment and the person in front of you enough to give them everything. When you master the position of presence, you transform shallow moments into sacred ones. You turn connection into communion. In a noisy world, this is a rare kind of power one few will ever wield. But presence is only the first layer of Stoic intimacy. Because true connection isn't just defined by what you give. It's also defined by what you withhold. After mastering the art of presence, the next challenge is far more difficult, learning not just when to give, but when not to. This is where true inner power begins to emerge. Number 2. The position of restraint. Why true power comes from self-control. Modern society celebrates passion without boundaries. It tells us love should be wild, emotion should be raw, and desire should always be indulged. But the Stoics stood in direct opposition to that idea. To them, real strength didn't come from giving in. It came from holding back. To restrain yourself in a world that worships impulsiveness is not weakness, is a rare and unshakable form of strength. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Yet most people today believe they're in control of their emotions and urges when in truth, they're being ruled by them. They chase after pleasure without pausing to calculate the cost. They react without thinking, and they surrender themselves. Too quickly confusing chaos for connection. But something incredible happens the moment you choose to restrain. When you resist where others would give in, when you remain calm while others explode, you tap into something almost forgotten in today's world: dominion over yourself. And that kind of power? It cannot be faked. Consider Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most powerful man of his time. Surrounded by temptations, by influence, by the burden of rule, yet he remained grounded. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now picture it. Having everything: wealth, admiration, access to all desires, and still choosing restraint. That is true mastery. Anyone can indulge. Anyone can react. But to pause, to say no when every part of you wants to say yes, that is the beginning of real control. Look around and you'll see the consequences of a world that lacks it. How many relationships collapse because someone couldn't manage their temper? How many lives are derailed by a single unrestrained impulse? One burst of anger, one night of temptation, one careless reaction. The Stoics knew, to live well, to love well, you must first learn to govern yourself. And restraint is the doorway. But make no mistake, restraint does not mean repression. This is where most people get it wrong. The Stoics didn't advocate for emotional numbness or denying natural desires. They embraced the full range of human experience, but always on their terms. To restrain is to feel deeply, without being controlled by those feelings. It's knowing you could lash out, but choosing instead to breathe. It's recognizing that not every urge deserves your attention. Not every temptation is worth the chase. Today's psychologists echo the same truth. Decades of research show that self-control is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success, not just in love, but in life. Those who master their impulses avoid unnecessary suffering, build stronger bonds, and command a kind of respect that can't be demanded. It must be earned. They are the calm in the storm. The ones who think before they act. The ones who move through life with intention, not instinct. So how do we build this kind of restraint? Step 1. Recognize your triggers. What situations, emotions, or people make you impulsive? Identify the patterns. Step 2. Pause. In every moment of temptation, whether it's an urge to react, to indulge, or to chase, just stop, breathe. Yourself time to choose your response consciously. Step 3. Practice discipline. Not in huge heroic acts, but in the small daily choices. Strengthen your willpower quietly, consistently, so that when the big moments come, you're ready. When you master the position of restraint, you begin to command your life with a kind of precision most will never know. You don't just move, you decide when to move. You don't just react, you respond with control. And that changes everything. But self-restraint alone is not enough. Because the most powerful Stoic position isn't just about control, it's about intention. After learning to restrain desire, the next challenge goes even deeper, staying emotionally balanced when everything around you begins to fall apart. This is where the Stoics revealed one of their most powerful inner positions. 3. The position of equanimity. Cultivating unshakable emotional balance. Most people think emotions are commands. When anger rises, they explode. When fear appears, they run. When sadness comes, they collapse under its weight. They believe they must obey their feelings, as if emotion is in charge. But the Stoics saw it differently. To them, emotions were not rulers. They were messengers. And once you realize you have power over how you respond, a new world of strength opens before you. Equanimity is the art of remaining steady, no matter the storm. It means facing chaos, betrayal, loss, even tragedy, and refusing to crumble. Not because you feel nothing, but because you've mastered the feeling, not the other way around. Marcus Aurelius, philosopher and emperor, ruled during a time of endless conflict, wars, plagues, the deaths of his children, political betrayal. Yet his writings remain calm, wise, centered. One of his most famous lines captures this perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Most people confuse strength with force. They believe it's about pushing harder, dominating others, or controlling situations. But real strength, Stoic strength, is quiet. It's internal. It's the power to stay rooted when everything around you begins to shake. The Stoics practiced this every day. They trained themselves to experience pain without collapse, to embrace joy without attachment, to face fear without flinching. Take Seneca, one of Rome's greatest thinkers. He was wealthy, influential, at the height of his power. Yet he lost everything, exiled, betrayed, eventually sentenced to death by Nero, and still, he didn't rage. He didn't plead. He didn't break. Instead, he accepted his fate with complete calm. He once wrote, "Man is affected not by events, but by the view he takes of them." To Seneca, the only real power was the power to control his mind, and nothing, not even death, could take that from him. Now ask yourself, how often do your emotions hijack your actions? How many regrets have come from moments of unchecked anger, fear, or sadness? How often do you hesitate, not because you can't act, but because your feelings hold you back? The Stoics knew the line between a powerful person and a weak one. Is this self-control in the face of emotion? Equanimity doesn't mean becoming emotionless. It means becoming so aware of your emotions that they can no longer dominate you. And modern psychology backs this up. Research shows that emotional regulation is one of the strongest predictors of resilience, leadership, and relationship success. Those who master their inner world make better decisions. They lead calmly. They love deeply without losing themselves. They endure pain without turning bitter. These are the people who stay calm under pressure. They don't get swept away by life's storms. They don't shatter when things go wrong. They remain steady, and in that stillness, they lead. So how do you train for this kind of emotional balance? Step 1. Awareness. Learn to notice your emotions as they rise. Observe without immediately acting. Pause before responding. Step 2. Detachment. Understand that no emotion, no matter how intense, is permanent. Pain will pass. Joy will pass. Fear will pass. Let it move through you, not control you. Step 3. Practice. Put yourself in discomfort. Face daily frustrations. Confront loss, fear, and pressure, not to escape them, but to build resilience. Each time you stay calm in the chaos, you build a stronger core. When you master the position of equanimity, you become untouchable. No insult can shake you. No challenge can break you. No loss can define you. You become the calm in the eye of the storm. The steady flame that doesn't flicker, even when the winds howl. And that kind of stability, it's rare. It's magnetic. It's the invisible power that sets extraordinary individuals apart from the rest. But even emotional balance isn't the final level. Because true intimacy, true inner strength, also requires one more thing: clarity of purpose. Once you've developed inner balance, the next evolution in intimacy is not just about how you carry yourself, but about how you elevate the person beside you. #4. The position of mutual elevation. Transforming love into a path for growth. Most people enter relationships seeking comfort. They want reassurance, emotional security, even entertainment. They search for someone to fill the gaps in their identity, to soothe, to validate, to complete them. But the Stoics had a radically different vision. To them, love was not indulgence, it was elevation. A true relationship wasn't an escape from life's struggles. It was a crucible, a forge where two souls refined each other into something stronger. It was never about avoiding pain or challenge it. It was about rising through it, together. Epictetus once said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." For the Stoics, this was the essence of love. It wasn't about losing yourself in another. It was about discovering your highest self through the reflection of someone equally committed to growth. At its highest form, love doesn't coddle, it challenges. It sets a higher standard and demands that both people rise to meet it. A real partner won't let you remain weak. They won't sit silently while you make excuses, dwell in comfort, or coast through life. They will lovingly, firmly, and relentlessly pull you toward the person you're meant to become. And you will do the same for them. But that's not how most modern relationships work. Today, people pursue closeness without accountability. They want connection without confrontation. They seek warmth but avoid the fire of transformation. And when life gets hard, they often point fingers, place blame, and forget that growth was ever the goal. The Stoics rejected this passive view of love. They believed the deepest form of connection wasn't emotional, wasn't physical, it was philosophical. A merging of principles. A shared commitment to virtue, discipline, strength, and wisdom. Consider the relationship between the Stoic philosopher Musonius Rufus and his wife. In a time when Roman marriages were often transactional, there stood a part. It was a partnership of equals built not on wealth or status, but on shared values and a mutual pursuit of truth. When Musonius was exiled for his beliefs, his wife didn't collapse in grief or beg for mercy. She stood firm, unshaken. She embodied the same Stoic discipline and inner power he had taught and lived by. Their love didn't make them weaker, it made them indestructible. Now compare that to many modern relationships built on fleeting passion, unrealistic expectations, or emotional dependency. How often do people enter love expecting happiness without responsibility, growth without discomfort, fulfillment without effort? And when hardship inevitably comes, they fall apart confused, angry, disappointed. The Stoics knew better. They knew that true love doesn't flee from adversity, it transforms through it. Because the real question isn't, is this relationship making you happy? It's, is this relationship making you better? Modern psychology agrees. Research shows that the strongest, most enduring relationships are built not on convenience but on shared vision, individual growth, and deep mutual respect. Couples who challenge each other, who sharpen each other, form bonds that are deeper and longer lasting than those built on comfort alone. They don't just enjoy each other, they refine each other. So how do you step into the position of mutual elevation? Step 1. Set a higher standard. Don't settle for relationships that make you feel safe but stagnant. Seek ones that demand your greatness. Step 2. Embrace accountability. A real partner doesn't hide your flaws, they reveal them. They help you face them and grow. Be willing to hear the truth and be willing to speak it, even when it's hard. Step 3. Align your principles. A relationship must be built on more than shared feelings. It must be built on shared values, shared purpose. A path walked side by side in the same direction. When you master the position of mutual elevation, your relationship becomes a fortress. Not because it avoids struggle, but because it grows stronger through every storm. You no longer fear friction, you welcome it. Because you know it's forging both of you into something greater. But there's still one final position left. And it's the one that ties everything together, not with emotion, not with logic, but with action. Once you embrace growth through mutual elevation, you unlock a new kind of relationship, one rooted not in need, but in mastery. But even at this level, one final truth remains, perhaps the most difficult, yet most liberating lesson of all. 5. The position of detachment, loving deeply without losing yourself. In modern culture, love is often mistaken for ownership. People cling, they obsess. They attach their identity, their worth, even their purpose to another person. They believe that losing someone means losing themselves. But the Stoics saw love from a far deeper lens. To them, love was never about control, it was about freedom. The freedom to stand strong in connection, without dissolving your sense of self. Detachment, as the Stoics taught, is not emotional coldness. It's not withdrawal. It's the purest form of love, one that is generous, centered, and unafraid. Epictetus once said, "When you are delighted with anything, do not become attached to it, but say, 'I am enjoying this for now, but it may leave just as a traveler passes by.'" This wasn't a rejection of love. It was a refinement of it. To love with detachment means to enjoy the presence of another without trying to own them. To walk beside them without holding them hostage to your happiness. To cherish them, not because you need them, but because you choose to freely and fully. And yet, most relationships today are built on fear. Fear of being alone, fear of abandonment, fear of not being enough. Out of that fear, people grasp tightly. They hold their partner so close they squeeze the life out of the relationship. Jealousy, insecurity, control. These aren't symptoms of deep love, they are signs of deep dependence. And dependence always leads to suffering. The Stoics understood this with crystal clarity. Marcus Aurelius, after losing his beloved wife Faustina, mourned but did not shatter. He grieved, but he did not collapse. He had loved her completely, but without becoming enslaved by that love. He wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. But do so with all your heart, yet not as if you could not live without them." This is the paradox of true intimacy. Love with your whole heart, but never at the expense of your inner foundation. Think of how many relationships fall apart, not because of lack of love, but because of too much attachment. When love turns into possession, it breeds fear. When one person becomes the other's entire world, the bond becomes fragile, dependent, suffocating. The Stoics believed the highest love allows both individuals to remain whole, to remain sovereign, to remain free. It's not about completion, it's about companionship between two complete beings. Modern psychology echoes the same insight. Studies show that the healthiest relationships are formed between people who maintain a strong sense of independence. When you see your partner as a powerful addition to your life, not the foundation of your identity, you create space for stability, respect, and lasting connection. True love does not try to control, it does not demand. It flows freely, without fear, and gives without the need to receive. So how do you step into the position of detachment? Step 1. Cultivate self-sufficiency. You must learn to stand strong alone before you can truly stand beside another. Your happiness, your peace, your identity, these must be yours, not borrowed. And that's only the beginning. Because when you master detachment, when you love deeply without losing yourself, something rare begins to happen. You no longer need love to complete you. You become the kind of person others are drawn to because of the power, not the need. You carry. In the final section, we'll tie it all together and reveal how these 5 Stoic positions don't just transform your relationships. They transform you. Once you've built the inner strength to love without attachment, you unlock something truly rare, the kind of love that is pure, present, and completely free. The final steps to mastering the position of detachment. First, never assign someone else the job of making you whole. Your happiness, your purpose, your identity, these must come from within. When you depend on another person to provide them, you give away the very power that makes you strong. Second, be fully present. Love who stands in front of you, not out of fear they might leave, but because you choose to be there now. Do not grasp. Do not chase. Enjoy them as they are, in the moment, without trying to possess what cannot be possessed. Third, accept reality. Everything in life is temporary, including love. The Stoics didn't resist this truth, they embraced it. Because only by accepting love's impermanence can we love fully, without fear. When you master the position of detachment, you step into a new realm of connection, one that is no longer burdened by fear, expectation, or control. You do not love because you need to. You love because you choose to. You don't cling out of insecurity, you stay because what's real deserves to be honored. And if love ever changes, you do not break, because you were already whole before it began. This is the final lesson of Stoic intimacy. Love is a gift, not a crutch. It is meant to elevate you, not imprison you. When you understand this, you will begin to experience relationships in a way most people never will, without anxiety, without attachment, and without losing yourself. And in that stillness, in that wholeness, you will find the deepest connection of all. At its core, Stoicism teaches one powerful truth. The strongest love is the one that does not try to possess. It is the love that strengthens, not weakens. The love that challenges you to rise, rather than indulges your comfort. The love that remains steady, not because it has to, but because it chooses to be. Each of the 5 Stoic positions, presence, restraint, equanimity, mutual elevation, and detachment, is not just a philosophy, it's a path. A journey toward mastery over self. Because true intimacy isn't about dissolving into someone else. It's about becoming so full, so complete, so strong within yourself that the love you offer is fearless, generous, and unshakable. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it, and you have the power to revoke that judgment at any moment." The same is true with love. It is never the loss, the challenge, or the change that wounds us. It's how we perceive it. And once you learn to master your mind, you master every relationship. So I leave you with this. Which of the 5 Stoic positions do you need to strengthen the most? Reflect deeply. Then act, because self-mastery begins not with knowledge, but with practice. And remember, the most powerful love doesn't come from what you seek to hold. It comes from what you've already built within.